My next guest is going to be taking on Julian Marquez at UFC on ABC2 on April 10th. It is Smiling Sam Alvey back here on the program. Sam, how's it going, man?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me back.
Of course. Always good to talk to you. How could I not? It's the smiling one, Sam Alvey. The big thing with this fight is you're moving back down to middleweight. What part you do that decision?
I couldn't win a fight at 205. The judges hated the smaller guy, or either that or Ginger's. I don't remember which one. The judges, whoever they find in the parking lot to judge the MMA fights, they just they pick who the bigger guy is, and that's who's going to win. So I'll go back down to the middleweight, and I'll be the bigger guy there. Was
that a decision you made, or did you talk to your team? How did you come about to go back down to 185?
It was pretty much me, but I mean, my team was they're on board. Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. What did you learn the most in that last fight? We talked about the judging obviously not being on point, but what did you take away from that performance?
The biggest thing I took away is that all judges are terrible, and they will get it wrong at every opportunity.
So how do you feel like you match up against Julian in this fight? He had a really long layoff, had the last fight, was a bit of a comeback win. I think a lot of people felt like he was on his way to losing a decision, and he comes back and gets the finish. How do you feel like you match up against him here?
I love the matchup. It's two guys that hit really hard, two guys with decent chins, and two guys that have a heart that won't stop, even though we're going to be trying to stop each other's hearts. No, the only downside to Julian is he prefers Miley Cyrus to Taylor Swift.
Okay.
Other than that, he seems like a good dude. Seems like a talented fighter. He's big for middleweight too, so he and I are going to be, big in that octagon, and I'm looking forward to having a good time with it.
Why are you more of a Taylor Swift fan? I need to know this.
T Swift is where it's at. She sings from the soul. She sings from the heart. Miley Cyrus is a pop artist. She's got some good songs. Wrecking Ball is like a throwback to an 80s, rock ballad. But she's more of a pop artist. She's crazy as a fox outside of singing. She's like 6 different kinds of nuts.
Is she one of your go-tos with karaoke?
T Swift? No, I wish I could sing T Swift. No, I'm more of a Tim McGraw kind of karaokeer.
Okay. Glad we clarified that. Training camp, I know you got a lot of your guys fighting or had fights or coming up with fights. You've got Jared Bandera. You've got Dominic Reyes with his fight in May. What's camp looking like heading into this fight?
It's going well. Hendo's in there for me again. Sean Strickland, I'm getting all sorts of rounds with him. I've got a lot of guys that I'm better than, a couple guys that I'm worse than. But we're all beating each other up, and no injuries. I've got a lot of guys that just aren't going to injure each other, so that's always nice.
And the weight cut, I imagine, and anything different to try and get down to 85 this time around? Because like I said, last fight, I think at 85 was in 2017, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It's going to be a harder cut than 205, but I've done them before. I've done them most of my career. I've made 170 before.
I remember when you fought. I think people forget you fought in Bellator. I remember when you fought then.
Yeah, fought in Bellator. I was in their middleweight tournament, but yeah. So I'm a pro at weight cutting. You're just gonna have to bite down and grin and bear it.
And you got plenty of notice, right? So it's not like it's going to be a tough, like you've had some crazy cuts where you've had to take a fight on short notice and have to cut all that weight, right?
Yeah, no, this one I've had plenty of time. I've been coming down. I've been doing everything right. I'm far bigger than I was at 85. Now this time around, far stronger. I got up to light heavyweight, so now I've got to get back down to middleweight.
What do you do? Is it just, eating different meals, or what's sort of your go-to in terms, is it less portions? Like how do you go about it?
I eat about 6 times a day, 3 big meals, 3 snacks. I keep my intake at about 2,400 calories. I make sure I burn at least that every day. And it's just more the timing of the food than anything.
Do you get the pre-made meals from the UFC, or do you do your own thing? How do you go about it?
No, they actually don't work with Trifecta anymore, so I don't get those. But I've got a Traeger grill.
Nice.
I smoke myself a salmon every week, and then pretty much every meal I have is fish and salad.
Nice. You're like a bear minus the salad, right? Because they eat a lot of salmon. So there you go. And then your corner, who's going to be in the cage with you that night?
Well, my wife is
of course, yes. Yeah, forgot about that. Yeah.
My boxing coach, Gustavo, will be there, and he's there for almost all of them. And then my jiu-jitsu coach, Joe Daddy Stevenson, he'll be there ringside. And he's a loud fella, so you'll hear every word he has to say.
How's this fight playing out on April 10th?
I'm going to knock him out. I think that's what I'll do. There's a chance I'm going to switch it up and go for the submission, but people like knockouts a lot more. And I'm a people pleaser.
You talked about Sean Strickland there. He's one of my favorite interviews. He's a character. I've heard a story that he wanted to spar a Starbucks employee just to get the rounds in. Is this accurate? Have you heard this?
I have not heard that, but I'm going to spar with him this Sunday. I'll ask him.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me, and he'd probably hear you. I'll give you a knife, and then we're just going to spar. You get a knife, and I get nothing, but let's see what happens.
I know it's not your division anymore, but we had that light heavyweight title fight between Jan Blachowicz and Israel Adesanya. Were you expecting that outcome, or did you feel like Izzy was going to be able to pull it off?
At the weigh-ins, I completely changed my vote. When Izzy weighed in at 200 pounds, 205.5 pounds, I made it say, Izzy's going to lose. He said, there's no chance of him winning this anymore. But prior to weigh-ins, I thought Izzy was going to win.
Okay. And do you think anyone's going to beat Jan at this point? I mean, he's supposed to fight Glover Teixeira next. He looks pretty much unstoppable, and obviously he had that win over your teammate as well, Dominic Reyes.
Yeah, I'm still not on the Jan boat. I think he's good. I do. I think he's talented. I still think he has some gas problems. Like 5 rounds is hard for him. He's got the power, which is always nice. His grappling is okay. I think there's some. I don't think he's going to be as dominant a champion as some have been, but I think if he gets through Teixeira, and that's an if, I think I'm leaning towards Teixeira, but if he gets through Teixeira, I think I'm going to jump more in his boat.
Okay. And some other news, we obviously had that Aljamain Sterling Piotr Jan fight that ended in a DQ. Aljo's the champ. What would you do in that situation, like in terms of the rules? Because I think some people feel like, Aljo didn't necessarily win, but Jan obviously shouldn't have deserved to win for landing the illegal knee. Do you think a title should be vacant, or do you think that was the right call?
No, I think that's the right call. Absolutely. Although I thought Piotr was winning, the cards were split. I believe one card had Aljo up. Going into that round, it was more or less tied. And Piotr, he cheated. I mean, it's against the rules. You don't train to get kneed in the head while you're down or to defend yourself from that position. So, no, I think the rightful champion is Aljo, and I see nothing wrong with him celebrating it even. I mean, honestly, I'm telling everyone, because of that knee, because he's the champion, whether it happened, legitly or he got cheated, or the other guy cheated and he got it that way, the rest of his life is now going to be easier. Because his next fight, he gets championship money, he gets pay-per-view points, he gets to defend his title. It's not somebody else's title. So I hope he has a good camp. Maybe he'll go in, maybe he'll hold his title, maybe he'll lose the title. But because of that illegal knee that had the potential to alter the career of Aljo, it was a vicious knee. Aljo should have stayed down. He's the rightful champ, and I would argue with anyone that says otherwise. And
last question, obviously before we're sort of hearing that the Ultimate Fighter will come back. You were on that show. Do you think it's a format that's still sustainable, even with Contender Series and all these regional promotions on Fight Pass? Like, the exposure is not really a thing anymore because you can get it on those promotions. But at the same time, obviously you get that UFC contract if you do win the Ultimate Fighter. What do you think of TUF in 2021?
I'm looking forward to TUF. I do. It's always been fun. It gets to show the personality of people more than the fight. And the fights are good, but the personality of fighters is what really draws people to it. Good stuff. Sam, this is awesome. Really appreciate the time, man. Anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media? I'll give you the last word. Yeah, hit me up on any of my social media. I love TikTok. TikTok is my jam, so hit me up there, and I try and respond to everyone.